rolling?
Yep.
All right, so this whole thing I kind of explained to you is your journey to here, but also a little bit about your dad and having a new king.
So it's funny, I actually knew very little about Monmouth until I would say maybe my sophomore year in high school, and I think King and my dad had kind of reconnected and just had been talking about maybe like having us come visit and just like checking this place out. And I had always kind of thought it was more of just like oh, the cool, like we get to see like my dad's old coach, like, and like get to sit in at a Division I practice and just like see how everything is. And we were in the dining hall and we were all sitting together, and then he offered me a scholarship and I was just beside myself. That was a great moment in my life.
I can tell you I'd wake up for a tournament in some small town in southern Illinois and I'd look over and he'd be sitting there at 8 in the morning. You know, he was one of those recruiters that just was going to outwork everybody because he'd show up at stuff no one else did.
They're asking me to go way back into some memories, but Ben Holmstrom was a young man from Rockford, Illinois that we saw. And the thing about Ben was a five-man that shot threes before that was cool. People tried to label you as the soft kid. Ben had a skill set for today's game. If you could shoot threes all the time and big men were shooting threes, Ben would have probably been an All-American. But the game hadn't evolved fast enough for Ben to be an All-American, so he was a regular guy on the team at Illinois State.
One of the biggest, I think, things that attracts you to him is the fact that he's got such a personality and he connects with you on a personal level really fast. Where a lot of other coaches in the recruiting process, you know, they take some time, it's a little awkward. With him, it was just instantly like he was joking with you about your girlfriend or, you know, some other silly thing to kind of make it less serious. And looking back now, it's definitely made a huge difference. You know, when I was playing for him, he was a young assistant, and he was the guy you'd go to complain about the other coaches, right? Or whatever Coach Stallings was doing. And you see a little bit of that now, you know, he's evolved into the guy that people are going to and saying, you know, hey, coach is being hard on me or whatever. So it's fun to see that difference.
Just knowing that you have someone that's genuine, that's always going to be looking out for you, that's going to treat you like family. Because, you know, like, having never been in that position before where you're getting recruited by schools, no one's going to tell you what you don't want to hear. But I knew that this place would be different because of that relationship and how my dad knew King and how I knew that it would just be a family as soon as I came here.
Has that kind of followed through now you've been here for 3 years?
100%. It's been phenomenal. And I have definitely made relationships that I will have for the rest of my life with all the coaches and all the players.
King called me one day and said, hey, you know, I hear Jack's doing great. You know, would you mind if we talked to him? I think they had seen a bunch of tape on him, and I think from there we came on an unofficial visit. That's where we kind of reconnected really with everybody and really got a sense of how special it is here. You know, from the Midwest, you know, you don't really know a ton about this area, and so the school was, you know, extremely impressive when we saw it, and obviously the area is beautiful and the facilities here were great.
And to look at our honor school, and Ben said to me, hey King, he likes this more than he liked Yale. And I was like, no Ben, we're not doing that. You know, this is our relationship, we'll still be cool. So he said, well, we're gonna go home and talk as a family, I'll be calling you back.
You know, for Jack, it was really trying to figure out, you know, he's such a high academic kid. It was, you know, do I want to be an Ivy League, you know, player, or do I want to go to an Ivy League school versus, you know, picking a school for other reasons?
I can't remember a time where I was lucky enough as a little kid to kind of understand things quickly, and I think that made it easier for me as I progressed to kind of enjoy school, and I don't think everyone has the privilege of having that experience, and I was lucky for that, but there was just something in me that my parents taught me that if you're gonna do something, they don't care about the results as long as you try your hardest. and I've always tried my hardest in what I feel like everything I've ever done. I was just lucky enough to be really good at school.
Man, Jack, on his free time, he's reading in the book. He's in a book. He's knocking out some form of homework or just something that other people may have to learn. Like someone may have to learn study habits, or someone may have to learn how to, take notes. Like he got it all down packed. He's always in the books or just always in the gym. He's gonna run the world someday. That's what we all say.
It was important for Jack to go to a school that was going to challenge him, but it was also a dream of his to play Division I basketball, and he had the opportunity to do that. And so I think there's other things that you get out of life, being on a basketball team with people very unlike yourself and with coaches that care about you, and it's a whole different level of discipline and hard work. And so we probably talked more about that piece as being a benefit to him than necessarily, hey, do you think he'll do good enough at Monmouth?
I didn't want him to come and then all of a sudden not be as serious about school. So we had the conversations, Ben and I, Jack and I, Marissa and I, and the family and everybody, and we've been very fortunate. Jack has maintained who he is as a young man, and that's hard to do. First time away from home, you're an A student, and for him to come and not just pick it up, but to pick it up at the level that he has done, he has definitely been the #1 student we've had at men's basketball in my 12 years.
I would imagine University of Illinois is a pretty big deal where you're from. We go out there and Coach Rice decides to start you. What was that moment like for you?
Yeah, so he told us at a pregame meal that day, or breakfast that day, and I was containing myself, but I was like, oh my God, let's go. Because that's like a dream. Like starting and getting to hear your name called while the lights are going all crazy in the big arena at your home state is an experience I'll remember for the rest of my life. And it was not the result we wanted, obviously, but being able to participate in that environment was incredible. I'll remember for the rest of my life standing before they're about to do the tip off, and everyone's just going, oh, and everything is just funneling. It's just that big sphere, everything's funneling right to that middle, and it's just hitting me. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. It was great.
I'm fortunate that I got to play for Coach Smith and understand that you do things for families. A kid came halfway across the country to play for us. We were fortunate to play the main school in his area, so he was the starter, and he played one of his better games. That's what we do. Sometimes the guys from Jersey and New York and Connecticut lose out on that because all their games are home games. But anytime a kid is away from home and we go to that area, we're gonna start him. I'm just happy so many people were there. His grandparents were there, his friends, former coaches, AAU coach. So everybody that had a hand in him being the young man that he is showed up. So it was a really cool night outside of the score of the game.
Anytime you get a chance to start a college basketball game, it's a great thing. So I know obviously he was excited about that. Having it at Illinois was definitely a good thing for us and special, and we probably had 30, 40 family and friends there that came to see him. And being from the Midwest and playing on the East Coast, you don't get a ton of opportunities to get close to home. And, that's some of the, I think, Carolina leftovers from King where, he did say when Jack came here that, sometime in his 4 years we'd get some games close to home. And, luckily Jack was in a position that, he's in the rotation, like you said, and got a chance to start, and it's a heck of an environment, and just the experience for him and the rest of the guys to really start with, Seton Hall, Virginia, Illinois, play at Syracuse. Those are memories you're really never gonna get rid of, and those are the memories I have as an older ex-player. They're the cool games that you got to play in, and it's not always the championships you won,